Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Let's just switch over here to the camera. Hope everybody's having an amazing Father's Day. We have a special for you today, which is I'm pretty excited about because it is about just drop my Sharpie. It's about problem solving and something that it's something that we have to do as designers and as makers as a part of like our day-to-day responsibilities and things that we do. And I think even as young adults like Jude here or anybody really, we have problems to solve and there's a lot of different ways to solve it. So today we're going to talk about 3 different ways to look at problem solving, and we're going to go through, we're going to have a couple activities, and it's going to be fun. How's that sound, Jude?
Good.
You ready?
Yes.
Do you need like any anything before we get going?
I'm good.
All right, cool. So thanks for joining. If this is your first time joining Design With Us is a show where Jude and I are making, creating, and building things. And specifically this season, we're working on building a roller world Roblox game, which is really exciting and really fun for us. But the last 2 weeks, we've kind of taken a little bit of a break on the building and development side of things. We have a couple other things we're still working on, but this week is kind of like a special because it's Father's Day, and I just wanted to pick a nice little fun topic to discuss. Okay, let's do this. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then we're just going to kind of jump into, I have a presentation that we're going to walk through and we'll have activities and stuff. So this is similar to like a workshop or an hour class that I would do if I was teaching this problem. So let's just switch back over into presentation mode, and then I'm going to do screen.
That's pretty neat.
So let's just, make sure that our guests can see this screen. So if you can see problem solving, a Father's Day UX learning special, then go ahead and leave us a comment. All right. I just want to make sure that they can see what we got going on here, Jude.
Hello.
Let's see. We'll be able to tell right in here in a second, and then we'll just get you back. Yeah, all right, cool. We're good. So today's episode is about problem solving, methods to solving problems and asking the right questions. All right, are you ready for this, Jude?
Yes.
All right, let's do this. All right, so the goal of today is to help you understand the problem solving techniques that map directly to the role of a designer. Because, Jude, I don't know if you know this, but as a designer, every day I'm having to problem solve. It's kind of like a thing that you do when you're a designer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So what does it mean to solve problems? What do you think it means, Jude, when you need to solve problems? And make sure you speak up loud so they can hear you. What does it mean to solve problems?
It means making things better.
Making things better, yeah, absolutely. We want to solve problems. It's actually also finding things that, somebody might tell you, oh, I have a problem with this or I have a problem with that. And then you get to go and do some troubleshooting and try to figure out how to solve it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Sweet. All right, so tell me about a problem that you solved recently. It could be anything. Yeah, it could be anything. And if one doesn't come to mind, then that's okay. I can give an example if nothing just pops into your brain.
No, I don't. I mean, bro, I don't got no problem.
Yeah. Well, okay, cool. I think as far as a problem that tell me about a problem that I've solved recently. So I'm working in I have a very complicated project that I'm working on right now, and I'm trying to get it out. I'm trying to release it out to the public. So what I'm deciding that instead of me having to do all the responsibilities for this project, I'm learning about delegation. I'm learning about how to ask for help, and I'm learning how to expand my reach as far as what I can do. So I had to solve that problem. Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean, you just have to problems, and you need to basically come up with a solution for how you want to do it. And you can come up with a lot of different ways. All right, so Was it an important problem? I think it was an important problem, but not all problems are super duper important. But I'm going to show you today how to actually think through that. And then I'm also going to talk about how do you know if it's a problem. I'm going to talk about that too. And and what does it feel like to solve problems? Have you ever solved a problem, June? You're like, oh, that felt pretty good. Like the satisfaction after you solve it?
Yeah. It feels like, oh, the war is over.
The war is over. This is good. We're ready to proceed. Yeah, I agree. It feels really good to work through problems, and then the benefit of doing that in a methodical way, or when you're thinking through how you can do it, it feels really good to come up with a solution to a problem. Sometimes it can feel good. It can feel rewarding. It can feel impactful, like you're going to make a big impact on something. It can feel super satisfying. And it can also bring purpose to you when you solve problems. Especially the bigger the problem, the bigger the reward. If that, kind of makes sense. All right, so and those cool. So those feelings help you define like your why, and they also connect you to your purpose. So sometimes when you're solving problems, it helps you. Oh yeah, well, why was I solving this, and how is it connecting to like why do I want to do it? So for a UX designer, the huge point of this is like the bullseye in the middle here. The bullseye is making sure that you're solving the right problem as a designer, because oftentimes, you bring up your Post-it notes, you bring up all your design experiences, and you set off to do something really exciting. But if you're not solving the right problems, then it actually is just creating more. It could be creating more problems.
Yeah. I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah, it's tough. All right. So there's a couple different problems that I want to talk to you about real quick. So one is the problems that are right in front of you. Like these are problems that are happening right this second. So for example, let's say you realize that you have a dog, and this dog is chewing on all your toys,
Your sticky notes.
or chewing on all your sticky notes, and he's just like, "Arr," and it happens over and over and over. That's happening right in front of you. You have a couple ways to solve that problem right away. The other ones are problems that you heard from like a friend or you heard from somebody else, and you need to verify those problems because you don't actually know if it's true, or if you haven't heard from the source, you don't really understand. This can happen quite a bit in products, or when somebody says that, this is a problem, but if you don't actually go and validate that problem, then it might not actually be a problem. Yeah. All right, and then the third one is problems that are not explainable. Like you're just like, why is this happening? And you need to do a lot more research and understanding for what it is. So this might be in product design. It might be like a user stopped using your product or stopped playing your game, and you don't really know why. So let's just say, Jude, in Roller World, we create an awesome Roller World experience, and then all of a sudden we start seeing people not playing it anymore. This is a problem that we need to do. We need to do more exploration on and figure out why it's a problem.
Use the big brain.
So that's 3 different types of problems. Do they all kind of make sense why they're different types of problems?
Yep.
All right. Should we go forward?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. So each of these problems require a different method to solve it, and we're going to talk about that today. So problem number 1, this was that problem that was right in front of you. Oh boy, so this is that problem that it requires immediate action. You have to gather and document what you see. So let's just say I see this problem. If I had a piece of paper, I could write down, okay, I see this problem, and it's happening here, and I need to look at it from different perspectives, and I also need to look at the problem objectively. Like I need to look at the facts, because I can't just make things up. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, cool. The second one, again, problems that you've heard and need to verify. These are require investigations. You got to get to the bottom. You need to verify. You need to put on your investigator's hat, and you need to go in and look at where did this come from? Why is it happening? And then you need to gather and document, you need to review the sources, and you need to look at it, again, from different perspectives. And again, looking at the facts. The third problem, remember, this is the one where it requires a little bit more investigation. You don't understand where it's coming from or why it happened. This requires what we call qualitative and quantitative data. So qualitative data is like understanding, like from people's voices and like what they're explaining from an emotional state. Like you, if I was to talk to you, like, how does this make you feel, Jude? And I was talking to you about that problem, that would be like a more of a qualitative assessment. And quantitative is like using data. Like, so say 100 of you, Judes, said the same exact thing, and you got that documented. That would be more quantitative data, so we could look at the numbers there and really assess, like, oh, that's a big problem.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, cool.
Big brains.
Big brains. And then it's very similar, you still want to look at it from different perspectives. So, but here's the problem. Like, here's the problem of the problems. How do you know which problem to solve? Like, if it's you have this problem, or you have problem number 2 or problem number 3, and like,
I have a watch. That's a big problem.
That's a big problem, like time
You're
or whatever. Maybe
late, bro.
You're running late. What are you gonna do?
Running late to a phone
Well,
call.
so the key is, like, when you dive into each of these problems, you can follow a simple recipe, and this helps you focus on solving the right problem. So when you get introduced or you get approached with a problem, if you follow this recipe, it can help you, one, kind of ease yourself into how you can go and approach it, but it also can help you be more informed before making a decision.
Okay.
Are you ready for this recipe?
The recipe is 3, 2, 1.
All right, here it goes. Recipe number 1. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to know what is happening. What is happening? So this is a very easy question where you can just be like, what is happening? And you can just fill this out. What is happening? That's like documenting the current problem. So if somebody comes to you, there's a problem with this, Jude. What's the first thing that you could do?
Where is it happening?
What is happening? And then where is it happening?
What is it happening?
So where is it happening is documenting, okay, it's happening at 4 p.m. every day when this certain situation happens. So this is like documenting, like remember, because we're investigators right now. We're going in and we're understanding what and where this is happening.
Yeah,
The
but we
third,
gotta stop the crime.
we gotta stop the crime. Yeah, dude. Oh yeah, I like that, man. I like the energy. And when did it start happening? So you know what, you know where. Now you need to start seeing, like, well, when is this happening? And this is really important product design too, because if it's happening at the same point, at the same time, over and over and over, then you found part of the problem. And that's really important. Then you need to know why. Why is really hard to figure out, Jude. But
Why?
you can still ask the question. And then who is it affecting? Like, is this problem affecting one person? Is it affecting 2? Or is it affecting hundreds or millions? Or billions of people?
Trillions.
Trillions.
Yep.
Right. So, all right, here we go. So at this stage, you're not trying to immediately solve a problem. So how many of you, and raise your hand, be honest, on the other side of this screen, how many of you have had a problem in your life and you just jump into it and start trying to solve it right away? I think we all probably do that, but this is going to be a recipe for when you start. It's a recipe for disaster. Yeah, maybe. But the thing is, if you start by just not telling yourself, okay, I'm not going to jump right into this problem. I'm not just going to try to solve it right away. I'm going to listen, and I'm going to try to understand it first. Okay? So your goal is to empathize, learn, and synthesize. So let's just talk about these words for a quick second. So empathize, like trying to really put yourself in the shoes of the person or a group of people who are experiencing this problem. This can help you really easily identify with what's going on in a more empathetic way. Have you heard about empathizing with people, Jude?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also a really important thing to do, especially in today's climate with everything that's going on in the world. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. This is something that is a key thing that you could do. The other thing is to learn all those questions that we had earlier when we're learning about it and when we're when we're learning about what the problem is. This helps us be more informed about it. The last thing is synthesizing. So synthesizing is essentially breaking down the information that you get. So if you got all those questions and you're an investigator and you're writing all these out, then you can start, oh, wait, there's this problem, Jude. Look, there's this other problem, and now it's all starting to make sense. That's what synthesizing when you're synthesizing your information. So we have activity number 1, and this is going to take the entire team on the other side of the channel to be able to help this, okay? So our activity number 1 is, it's called Help Me Solve a Problem. Are you ready for this?
Will you help me?
I'll help you, yes.
Will you help me?
So what we're going to do is take 3 minutes on our time timer. 1, 2, 3. And what we're going to do is we are going, and here, let me just make sure that I want to make sure, I can't tell Jude if they can actually see us. They might only be able to see
Wait, they can see us?
oh, they can. Okay, cool. So I'm going to set this for 3 minutes, and when what Jude and I are going to do on our post-it notes, and if you have a piece of paper, go grab a piece of paper and just pause. You can't really pause it because we're live right now, but what we're going to do is write down one problem that we have and we want help solving. And if you have a problem and you want to put it in the chat, we will make time at the end of this episode to try to help you brainstorm and help you get out of it. So Jude, here's a Sharpie.
Yep, I don't trust myself with this crap.
Okay, here you go.
I'll put it on.
You can use this one.
It's okay.
All right. So what we're gonna do is write down a problem. So I wrote a few up here on the board, like I don't enjoy my lunch, I argue with my brother and sister too much, I'm always late, I struggle with X, or I don't have enough time to learn how to X.
What's X?
X is just like fill in the blank.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready? Let's do it. Okay, we have a couple minutes, and we're going to start right now. So if there's a moment of silence, that's okay. And I'm going to write my problem. So
Problems?
yeah, something you need, something you're like struggling with, or something you want to learn, and it's like hard, or it could be any problem. It could be the something like with your training, or something with sports or whatever. Any problems in your life, or you pretty much got it nailed?
I don't know. Problems? Yeah. This is hard.
It's all right. Take your time. You have time. Oh, Eunice said, I'm single now. That's okay, Eunice. We can help with that.
Come on. Yeah. Okay. Oh God, no way.
All right. So, Jude, if you you can go ahead. I'll start with mine. One of mine was like, I need to make more time to learn aspects of WordPress. I am trying to build a brand new product right now on WordPress, and there are a lot of plugins and a lot of things that I need to use. So that's a problem that I have, is that I'm already doing a lot of different things, and I need to hunker down and focus and get this learning done so that I can ship that thing. So that's one of my problems. Jude, what's yours?
Jude can't think of a problem.
Jude can't think of a problem. Okay, well that's fine, Jude. This is like putting you on the spot, so we'll just keep going. Okay, and then we had a couple other ones. So let's just keep this show going.
Hit the sub button.
All right, so now that we have our problem, so you take your problem, put it down on a piece of paper. So Jude can't think of a problem, so we'll figure that out. All right, so Jude, why can't you think of a problem?
Because I don't got no problems.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Can't, okay. So then what you do is we're going to take another 5 minutes with this problem, and we're going to try to break this down even more. So try to do this yourself. Okay, so basically what you would do is have another 5 Post-its for like the what, the where, the when, the why, and the who. And what you're going to do here is you're going to start thinking about your problem and being very intentional about how you could solve it. Too many problems. Oh, nice, Bruno. Well, guess what? We can even solve that. So if you could just try to pick one and think about it to yourself. You don't have to write it in on the channel, but thinking about what these problems are, and like think about what is happening right now. Well, where is this happening? Is it happening at home? Is it happening online? Right. Is it happening with your friends? When is it happening? Why could this be going down? And then who is it affecting? So then you take this and you go through each of these and you write down a little bit more details. Okay. Oh boy.
Wait, what is that?
Now,
bro, your handwriting is so hard to. What is that? Spell?
Help me think.
That's a.
Yeah. So Sebastian, that is something we could talk about, but probably not appropriate to talk about on the live show right now. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're putting down right there. So it's a tea time for me. Hold on.
Tea time.
That got really interesting. All right. So for me, I need to make more time to learn WordPress. So what is happening? Well, I'm building something.
I can't think of problems. Think. Problems.
That's pretty good, man, if you ain't got no problems. That must mean I'm doing my job.
I have problems. I have lots of problems. Do I have problems? I don't think I have problems.
All right, so I'm building something new. That's what it is. So where is it happening? It's happening everywhere. And if you're like if you're doing product design, this is something where like, oh, well, this feature is not working. Why? What is happening? Well, people can't proceed to the next step because this is happening. That's the where. When is it happening? Well, it's happening when they need something, when the person needs to complete something. The why, well, they're not able to get to the next step because of this problem. That's your why. And then who's it happening to? It's the user, or in this experience, it's us. Okay. So we have a couple more minutes. Is everybody writing down their problem? If you haven't yet wrote down your problem, go ahead and do that.
Sebi, do you have a problem? Let's hear it if you do. Okay.
Yeah, and if you have friends, you can do this with your friends, and then also do this in a way where you can be supportive with one another, and you could work together to do this. All right. Let's see. So everywhere it's happening. When did this? Oh, well, it happened when I started working on this new venture. And it's happening to me. Okay, good. And this probably is easier if you're applying it to like a business, or to like a school project, or to it could be, Jude, when you're you want to launch more videos, right, on your YouTube channel. That's a challenge, right? And how could you solve that challenge? Right. So we're gonna come up with solutions here in a second, but right now we're trying to understand it. Okay. So timer's about to go off, and now we're gonna actually move on to the next.
Got no problems.
No problems. All right, man.
I'm feeling good.
All right, here we go. All right, so the timer's going to go off. So now that we have that, we're going to help you solve that problem. So, for example, on the screen right here, so I needed to generate some hypotheses about, which are educated guesses about how we can solve these problems. So one of them that we picked here was like, I don't enjoy my lunch, or I'm always late. A couple ideas below that in the blue Post-it notes are, I need to cook your lunch, or I need to give feedback to a parent, or I need to give feedback to the principal. There's other things that you can do there. Or I need to get a watch because I'm always late, or I need to pair up with a friend to encourage better habits. and then my time timer just went off. And then another way I'm always late, maybe I just need to leave earlier. Like, those are possible solutions. So, Jude, what we're going to do, instead of taking 10 minutes, what we're going to do is just take another like 3 minutes, and we're going to write down a bunch of ideas on how we can solve the problems. And I'm going to write down a problem for you because I know that was hard to think about. So I'm going to write creating more content, because that's what you said you wanted to do.
I did?
Yes.
Yeah, I did. I said that.
You did. All right, so what you're going to do, here's some more Post-its. Here's some more Post-its for you.
More Post-its.
There you go. Post-it heaven. So right now what I want you to do is think about some ideas that you can do to create more of that content. What's something that you could do? Do you want me to help you brainstorm?
I can do this.
Okay, you can do this.
Create more content. So what do I have to do again?
Right. So right now, so this first one where it says I don't enjoy my lunch, that is the problem statement, which is yours is creating more content. That's the problem. Now the blue right here is the possible solution. So what we're going to do is generate solutions around that. So the first one might be, I'll get you started. The first one might be, I need to create a plan. Create a plan of when I should record.
Yeah.
Here, I'll show them. So create a plan, and that's an example. Another one might be, I need to create an idea board to pull new ideas from. Does that make sense? So I'm going to create an idea board to pull all my new ideas from. It's another example. So that's two. Can you think of a third?
Okay.
Maybe another one would be like collaborate with other YouTubers.
Collaborate. That's a long
Here, I'll do it for you. Collaborate
with multiple
with other YouTubers.
YouTubers.
Show you. So collaborate with other YouTubers. So what we just did in this short amount of time was we generated 3 possible solutions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what we're doing is, well, first thing we did, we understood the problem. Now what we're doing is we're solutioning for the problem. All right, so now what we'll do is we'll discuss these 3 options that we just came up with, and we'll just talk about them within each other. And if I know that you are on the other side of this magical screen right here, so if you want to comment or talk to us about ours, we have 3, and we're being very, very open with you about what they are. And one is to create a plan of when we should record. The other one is to create an idea board to pull new ideas from. So this is basically like a sheet of paper that when we have a fun idea, do you feel open to sharing like the film thing that you were working on?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay. Why don't you give it so
just talk about it?
Yeah, say just for like a short bit, just talk about like what you're doing, and that's an idea. So that idea could get stored in your idea board.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this week, probably 2 days ago or 3, I was my friend was so me and him, we were basically we got our favorite shows, and if they have intros, we try and do it. We try and do it in real life, where one of us films it and the other one does it. So I was the one who, it was kind of like making a movie basically. He was the director and I was the actor. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That was fun, yeah. And so just being able to create these ideas and storing them is one way that it could also help with creating more content. The other one is collaborating with other YouTubers. So if there's other YouTubers, which you've done a few collaborations already before, that's a good way to create more content, which is the core problem that you're trying to solve.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's just keep going. And if there's any questions on the channel, feel free to let us know. All right. Cool. So we did that. So, but how do we do, Jude? So how do we do here? We have 3 ideas, and I'm just going to show on. So if I just do drawing. So we have our ideas here. We have create, and collaborate. So it's good after you have these, then you can, here, let me go back to screen cap. Is it showing on the screen cap?
Screen cap.
I can't really tell.
Yes, it is.
Is it? Okay, cool.
Yes, it is.
Cool. So I think we did pretty good. And in a short amount of time, we have 3 ideas as far as what we could do. And if you time box this a little bit more like I was just showing you, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you're going to be in a really great spot to having a lot of good ideas that you can test and that you can try out. Okay?
Big brains, epic games.
So, is problem solving hard?
Yes.
Why?
I mean, I don't know. It's just like when I try and solve my problems, it's just like it's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's not no problems are easy.
Yeah. It's actually, you're right. I think problem solving is hard.
Yeah.
Is it fun trying to solve problems?
Depends what problem it is.
It depends on what problem it is, huh?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
I mean, it depends. Like, if it's an argument? Yeah, it's not gonna be fun. But if it's not an argument, it's maybe like trying to solve a problem with your friends. Like, where did the rock go?
Yeah.
Or just like, where did the thing go that
Yeah.
you put in the tree?
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
Yeah. So solving problems is not always fun. It actually can be really challenging, and it can cause you to have to confront things that you never wanted to confront. But it can also be very liberating once you do it and once you do solve that problem. So that's just it's challenging, but it can also be fun because the reward of solving a problem, again, is really nice. Really nice. All right, here we go. Let me just... All right. Is it easy?
Solving a problem? It depends again.
It depends. You're right. It does definitely depend. But I think having a method or a process to being able to solve problems makes it less strenuous on you. Because when you have a little bit of a method or a recipe that you can follow, just like cooking, maybe making scrambled eggs or, just whatever something that you do day in and day out over and over and over, it can be easy. You can just leave it, Jude. It's fine. All right, so let's break down what we accomplished today in this short little session here. So what we did, we shared a problem we had. Some of us did, some of us didn't. We used a problem-solving recipe, which is, the what, why, the how, the when it's happening, understanding and empathizing the problem, and then learning about it so you can synthesize that information. You can, understand it. Then we got creative and generated some solutions for that problem. You can do this for any sort of problem that you have. Whether it be for problems at school, problems at work, problems in your product, or problems at your house. You can use this.
Right.
And you showed empathy. So key takeaways. So the insight that I want to share with you first. Not all proposed solutions that you come up with, collaborate with YouTuber or make an idea board, are going to work. But you have to be able to start somewhere, because if you don't try, or if you don't try to approach trying to solve it, then nothing will happen. and if you don't have a method for how you want to approach it, then you can feel a lot of confusion, and you can maybe not net the type of results that you were really looking for.
Nope.
Number 2, solving a problem is tough, yeah. But showing empathy for people and taking people's emotions seriously is a really important thing, because like we all are emotional. We have emotions for a reason, and it's really important to respect those emotions and to really get to the bottom of them, and to just be empathetic to why people are experiencing those things. Is it pretty heavy?
Hard.
Yeah. All right, so we got a scenario thought. So this is kind of a fun thing to imagine, okay? So imagine that 50,000 kids had a similar problem to the one that you stated today, or the one that you were thinking about in your head. Or Jude, for example, say 50,000 kids were trying to make content this year. Like 50,000 new YouTubers are trying to come to YouTube.
But they fail.
You think they fail?
No, they win it. They win it.
Yeah, so even they win or they lose, like 50,000 kids, say they're coming to YouTube today, how are they going to plan for that? If you're trying to get a YouTube channel right now, how are you planning for it? Like the first thing that you could do if you're trying to create some content is you create a plan. Okay, what am I going to record weekly? Am I going to record daily? Am I going to record monthly? What is my show about? What is it going to entail? Why am I even creating it? You know, you can start, why do I want to do it? Why do I want to contribute to society and entertainment and gaming?
Should I do it?
Exactly. The other thing is, like the 50,000 kids, you know, they might also be like, well, I need ideas for these shows. You know, is the one idea that I have good enough is it good enough for me? Am I going to get bored of it? Or is it going to be something that I want to do for a while? The same thing happens in products and experiences, and that's just something that to be thoughtful of. So let's just say again that those 50,000 kids had to pick one of these solutions that we generated today to solve the problem that they have. What would that do if you had the responsibility that 50,000 kids or people were going to use the problem that came up with, like, your solution? What would you think about that?
I would think.
You would thank them? Would you be would you be nervous that 50,000 kids are going to follow your...
Yeah, and if I mess up, then they're going to be... Joe, you didn't give me the right thing. Liar.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Well, that's the thing about that this, like, would you have still picked your solution if you knew that 50,000 people were going to...
dislike it?
No, not dislike it, but just like if 50,000 kids were going to start on YouTube next week, and they had three options. They could create a plan, they could create an idea board, or they could collaborate with you. Do you think that you would still pick those solutions?
Yes.
Maybe? Yeah, okay, cool. But how would you have known that was right?
Because my brain is big.
Oh, yeah. Well, oftentimes it definitely is big. But when you don't know something, that's why you test it in design. That's why we're designers, and that's why we prototype something, and that's why we test something, because we do have a huge responsibility, because in design, the decisions we make can affect millions of people. So, little short story, Jude. When I currently am a designer at Facebook. I work on products that our internal employees use, and the decisions that we make as a team affect literally about 50,000 or so people. So when we're designing experiences, we have to be very thoughtful about the outcomes that we're designing. And the same thing when I was at lynda.com or LinkedIn, it's the same thing. When you're designing an experience, you want to test it and you want to validate it before you give it to somebody, because you don't know 100%, like, you don't know, like, what's gonna be the outcome. So you got to be really thoughtful about it. And it's the same thing when you're solving problems and you're trying to figure out, solutions for it.
Yeah, it's not too easy, is it?
It's not. All right, so great job. Woohoo! Any questions for the channel? I want to open it up for any questions about questions, And Eunice, if you do want us to comment on that, we will. But it's definitely up to you, my friend. And but anybody else in the chat, Sebastian, Bruno, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let us know, and then we will basically kind of pick up back on the show.
Yep. Yeah.
So wait a second.
You have 3 minutes on time.
All right, so we're switched back, Jude. We're switched back to our camera, and what we're gonna do is just kind of finish up the show. And because it is Father's Day, we are gonna end a little earlier today.
Okay.
Boom, 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 boom. But if there's some other questions, just feel free. We're going to jump back over into our Design with Us file.
We win at life.
We do, yes, yeah.
I win at life. You win at life. Everyone there wins at life.
That's right.
All
right.
2 minutes on that timer.
All right, here we go. So we're back into our massive file where if you remember when we were working on Roller World, because we just finished. Nice, Eunice. We're glad you're joking, man. That's funny. We were joking too, but we would have helped you anyway. All right, so we're back into our file of Design with Us, and we're talking about Roller World. And just as a reminder, Roller World is still active. What we're planning on doing in the next week or two is we're going to be getting our world over into an engineer, and the engineer's primary objective right now is to build the basic framework of the level when you first come into the hub, and that's going to be the adventure. It's gonna feel like an adventure park, but it's gonna be more of like a amusement park for us, and that's gonna be a lot of fun to be able to see. I think some of the things that we're still needing to work on is the actual gaming mechanics of the player experience. So we did do a couple ideations of like where you'd be running and what you'd be doing, but we just need to get a little bit more into the actual clickable prototype, and this just takes a little bit more time. You need kind of more than just like 30 minutes or an hour to kind of work through it. So that's some stuff that we're going to be working through in the coming weeks, and just we're taking our time with it because it's a lot of very tedious and detailed work. But we're making progress on it, and we also were playing with different logos, and I'm not like super fond of the logos yet, but we'll like kind of keep jamming on those and keep playing, but we could just like kind of mess around and create some.
Yep, because that's fun.
But I kind of want to do it inside of Illustrator and not inside of Figma. But yeah, inside of Figma. But we'll get to it. Thanks for being patient with us. But other than that, I think we want to end the show a little bit earlier today because it's Father's Day. We want to get back to playing and having a good time. So, any other things that you want to share, Jude, before we end? Because we did do the problem solving episode, and that was a lot of fun for us. What did you think of this lesson?
It's epic.
Epic.
Very epic.
This was the recipe. So when you're thinking about when you have a problem next time, think about what is happening right now, where is it happening,
what is going on here,
when, why, who is it affecting, and then you'll be in better shape to go solve your problem. So I think that's it for today. Hope you all had
amazing Father's Day. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, hope you all have an amazing Father's Day. And I didn't even know that thing was on.
We did all.
Yeah, hope you seriously though enjoy your family, enjoy the family time, enjoy the time with your father, and to all the dads out there, this is a great time to be a dad. It's definitely a great time to be a kid, and yeah, and just big shout out to all the dads out there, and keep doing your dad duty. Have fun. And we'll see you guys in the next episode of Design with Us next week, 4 p.m. And that's about it. So I will see you. Bye.